Welcome back to the Vintage Reserve. On this channel, we go urban treasure hunting, looking for great deals at garage sales, thrift stores, flea markets, estate sales, anywhere where a good deal can be found on something valuable. Right now, we are working on building a retro game room. So basically, nostalgia, video games, pop culture, just a bunch of cool, fun things. And that stuff, especially nostalgia items, get expensive. So we've been hunting at a lot of garage sales recently for things to put into our game room. Right now, this past weekend, I wasn't actually planning on going around and garage selling. However, there happened to be two neighborhoods on my way home that were doing preview nights on Thursday and Friday night. So I just stopped at them for a couple hours on my way home and ended up finding a few things. And then on Sunday, I was coming back from an event and there were some local garage sales which were not advertising any other days. So I ended up stopping just because I hadn't seen them that previous day, and turned out they had some really cool stuff just because they were having their sale on a Sunday, which usually is not when people are garage selling. So I've got a few brief clips from the weekend. I didn't really film very much. Let me know in the comments, actually, do you guys care to see more about the out and about at the garage sales, or do you really just care about getting to the finds? What treasures did we actually purchase and at what prices? Or do you prefer more of the buildup of watching, the hunt for these items, or do you want to get right to the goodies? Let me know in the comments. If there is an overwhelming response for more video actually out of the garage sales and the flea markets and things, I'll try to focus more on that. But honestly, sometimes you get so excited over the finds that you forget to film. And it can also be a little awkward to just pull out your phone and start filming as you're negotiating a deal. So here's a few short clips, and then we'll get to all of the things we found. And spoiler, there's quite a bit. Well, one garage sale with a game that was interesting. For $2, why not? Just doing more garage sales. It's actually Sunday. I was just passing by some and asked at a random house, and they had for the Super Nintendo Turtles in Time and Lion King. So I decided to grab those. Didn't have them from the collection yet. Found one good thing. $5. It's not bad. All right, now to the fun stuff. Here we have the actual finds from a weekend of garage sailing. So let's start with what we found during the preview nights out at the neighborhood garage sales. The first big find was actually this Sega Genesis classic game console in box. This is one of kind of the remakes that has just 80 built-in games, but it can actually play the Sega Genesis cartridges as well. So this is a cool find, especially having the box. This will look really great kind of displayed on a shelf. So that was a cool find. I ended up paying $20 for this. They actually only wanted 5, but they let me know that they had a bunch of other game consoles and Genesis games in their basement somewhere. So I paid up a little bit and paid $20 because I told them I wanted to be fair with them. And if they were looking to sell all their other retro gaming stuff in the future, I gave them my number so that they could reach out to me. Sometimes it'll be worth paying up a little bit to build a reputation with someone and they know they're not going to get kind of screwed over on price. But the garage sale right next to that had actually these. They had a kid that was really into Legos. They had a whole bunch of Lego sets that were built in bags that they were selling for like $20 to $40 a piece. And they had this just stack of bins with just random Lego in it. And they only wanted $10 for this whole stack because they just didn't see any value in it because they weren't like complete sets. But look how many minifigures alone I found just in that one stack of boxes. It's a lot of Lego City stuff. A few handful of like Star Wars things, and then some other things, especially like a really cool like oceanographer like set that's partially there. Lego is very expensive and also just fun, so I do collect like large amounts of Lego. So for $10, I think that alone, even just for the minifigures, is a steal. You also saw in the clip at one garage sale they had a few video games. It was mostly PlayStation 2. It was pretty much all sports stuff, and then they had this Gran Turismo 4, which is apparently a pretty fun game for the PS2, like a really early racing game, driving simulator. So for $2, I thought that was a fun little find to add to the collection. And then we went to the thrift store. And the thrift store actually had two things this week. One you saw in the video was this Super Mario Bros. Wii for $5. That's a pretty darn good price for that game. I've already got like 2 copies of this actually, but for $5 I can use this as trade fodder and trade it to a collector for something that I don't have, or even just sell it and use the money to, put into a different video game or a new console or something. So for $5, I was not leaving that. And then I'm also big into Dungeons and Dragons, and for $4.50, there was this bag that has these basically D&D or like Pathfinder miniatures in them. Give me a second, I'm gonna open this bag and we're gonna take a closer look. So in the bag, we actually had 3 figures. There's this one angel figure without the base, unfortunately. There's this chimera, which I actually have a couple of chimera of different versions, so I'll probably put this on one of those bases. Cool little find. And then the really cool one, this like dragon creature with a rider on it, but the dragon's also got a weapon. It's a red Dragon King rider. I looked it up really quick online. It's like a $30 to $40 miniature, so that alone is great for what I paid. So those will go in the collection. Next, there was a garage sale that I stopped at, and I asked if they had video games, and they said no. And then I got talking to them and mentioned that I was collecting like the Super Nintendos and the Wii and N64 and all that. And they go, hey, didn't we have a box of Super Nintendo games in the closet? So they went and checked, and they actually had 3. One of them I didn't end up buying. I kind of regret it. I thought it was a game that was already in the collection. Turned out it wasn't. But there's Lion King for the Super Nintendo, and what I'm really excited for, Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time, which I think is like a $40 game. I paid $5 a piece for these, and those will go in the collection for my Super Nintendo. So that was a really fun find. And then the best score of the weekend is by far a garage sale that I went to that only happened on Sunday. So no one had really gone to it because no one really goes to garage sales on Sundays for whatever reason. And they had a whole stack of video games and pop culture stuff. And they were actually in the process of calling up a store to sell it at or donate it to, because they were kind of upset that no one was taking it, because they were actually in the process of moving in a few days and just needed it gone. So when I got there and told them I was building the game room, they immediately were super excited, and they told me for $40, just take everything we have, everything you want. So for $40, I couldn't pass that up. We got all of this. So to start off with, they had these 2 kind of like GameStop promotional posters for The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. This one's not in great shape, but this one should be good enough to potentially frame and add to the wall in the game room. Then they had all these games. To start off with, they had PlayStation. This is Resident Evil 2, and they do have both discs in there. I think this is like a $20 or $30 game even loose, so that right there is amazing. Then there's Tomb Raider as well for the PS1. They did have some DVDs, some Red vs. Blue for anyone who remembers that old Rooster Teeth show. Super funny. They had a few Blu-rays from random Star Wars. I think these were like Blockbuster at some point. One of these said like Blockbuster Insights, I thought. But I mean, anyways, that's from some sort, Family Video, which was a local, like Blockbuster-like store. And then just some other random DVDs. But then we get to these other games. If we look at the side here, we've got Skyrim, Kingdom Hearts, and then a few like Splinter Cell for the Xbox, and the Kinect games, which aren't really worth anything. Then we've got some sports games, some PS5 and PS4 games, not really worth much of anything, but sometimes you can use sports games to get better cases for when you're hunting. Then we've got a single DS game, which ended up being Metroid Prime Hunter's First Hunt, which is a pretty expensive game. I've never been able to play a Metroid game because I've never owned them. They're usually pricey. So, and they actually had a custom-made cover for it. Samus the Bounty Hunter. Love that. So that'll go in the collection. Then, for the GameCube, they had Metroid Prime for again, just having this alone would be an amazing find, and to get it with everything else is fantastic. Then for the Wii U, Pokken Tournament. I am super excited to be able to play this game. They were big Pokemon fans. They didn't have any other Pokemon games. They were selling everything else they were keeping, but they had played as much as they wanted to of this game, so super excited to add that to the collection. For my game nights that I host with friends, Super Smash Bros. For the Wii U. The Wii U is kind of becoming my favorite party console, so this is a great game to add to that. And then there's even Splatoon. I've never played this game. It looked kind of interesting, like a kind of PG first-person shooter almost, I guess, from Nintendo. And then with some more Xbox games, we've got Oblivion, Child of Eden, which I've never even heard of. Not sure what that's about. Grand Theft Auto 5, and then a Gears of War in a case for... This is a local game store. It used to be a really great game store, and then a few years back, it changed owners, and they kind of ran it into the ground, unfortunately. But Oogie Games used to be kind of a staple of the area. Not so much anymore. There's a lot better game stores now. And last but not least, that same sale had this really cool Legend of Zelda, like, rucksack. And I think this is going to become my new kind of garage sale flea market, like, hunting backpack. I had a previous one that actually is lent to a buddy at the moment. So the fact that this is Zelda, but also has quite a bit of storage in it, will be just a really great thing to throw on when I'm hitting up the garage sales or the flea market. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please consider giving us a like, subscribing, leaving a comment. These are things that really help the channel grow, help more people see it, and help motivate me to put out more of these videos. It's just a passion project, and I enjoy doing it. So let me know what you'd like to see more of in future videos. And I'm also planning on doing a video at some point actually showing some progress reports on this game room. Because if you've been following us the last couple months, we've been finding a lot of games, and then I also found a lot of stuff last year that I didn't film as much before I really started doing this stuff on the channel. So we'll take a look and see what is the state of our game room currently. Thank you so much for your time. Hope you all have a wonderful week, and catch you on the next video.